Welcome to Canada and the world. The content of the briefing includes: AbCellera cuts 10% of staff as biotech slump hits Vancouver antibody developer. Too much wealth tied up in real estate can hurt your retirement, report suggests. Bernardo transfer should be turning point on better informing victims, ombudsman says. Make the most of donation tax savings while giving back. As cervical cancer cases rise, Canada at risk of missing ambitious target to eliminate disease by 2040. AbCellera cuts 10% of staff as biotech slump hits Vancouver antibody developer. The Globe and Mail. Canadian biotech company AbCellera Biologics has cut 10% of its workforce amid a prolonged bear market for the sector. The Vancouver-based firm has reduced staff in order to focus on developing its own treatments, as opposed to discovering antibody drugs for other pharmaceutical companies. The biotech market has struggled in recent years, with AbCellera's stock losing 2/3 of its value over the past 2 years. However, the company is in a strong financial position with over $1 billion in liquidity. Too much wealth tied up in real estate can hurt your retirement, report suggests. The Globe and Mail. Around 55% of Canadians aged between 55 and 64 will have to make lifestyle compromises to achieve a comfortable retirement, according to a report by Deloitte Canada. The report found near retirees are too reliant on their homes for wealth, they invest too conservatively and do not have access to the advice and investment products they need. Bernardo transfer should be turning point on better informing victims, ombudsman says. The Globe and Mail. Victims' rights groups in Canada are calling for a change in legislation governing the prison system after Paul Bernardo, a sexual predator and killer, was moved to a medium-security jail without warning. Bernardo is serving a life sentence for the murder of 2 teenage girls. The case has highlighted the need for a more transparent and supportive approach to victims of crime. Make the most of donation tax savings while giving back. The Globe and Mail. Canadian high-income earners can save on taxes by donating securities instead of cash. Under tax law, a capital gain realized when donating publicly traded securities is subject to a zero inclusion rate, meaning that none of the gain is taxable. This means that high-income earners can receive significantly less benefit from a donation to charity in 2024 and later years than in 2023 when the alternative minimum tax rules will be implemented, which cut the donation tax credit in half and increase the inclusion rate to 30%. As cervical cancer cases rise, Canada at risk of missing ambitious target to eliminate disease by 2040. The Globe and Mail. Cervical cancer is now the fastest increasing cancer among females in Canada, putting the country at risk of missing its ambitious target to eliminate the disease by 2040, according to medical and policy experts. Faltering vaccination rates, barriers to screening and lack of primary care providers are key challenges standing in the way. A report released in November by the Canadian Cancer Society shows that the incidence of cervical cancer has been rising nearly 4% every year since 2015, the most significant increase in nearly 40 years. The Authenticity Trap, 2023's Word of the Year, speaks to our complex cravings for real experiences. The Globe and Mail. The concept of authenticity has become increasingly important in modern society, yet it remains elusive and difficult to define. In an article for the Globe and Mail, Mark Kingwell explores the notion of authenticity and how it has come to dominate our lives. From politics and media to personal identity, Kingwell argues that the pursuit of authenticity is fraught with confusion and contradiction, leaving us uncertain of who we really are. He suggests that the rise of AI and digital technologies further complicates matters, as we are left questioning whether our online personas are truly authentic representations of ourselves. U.S. says alleged murder plotter from India spoke of 3 jobs in Canada. The Toronto Star. A U.S. indictment has revealed that a man planning to assassinate a Sikh activist in New York also discussed the murder of Canadian Hardeep Singh Nijjar in British Columbia in June. Nikhil Gupta, an Indian national, is accused of recruiting an undercover officer who he believed was a hitman to kill the activist. Gupta allegedly said that Nijjar was also the target and there was no need to wait for the next killing as Nijjar was already dead. The indictment states that Gupta told the officer that we have so many targets the day after Nijjar's murder. It also states that the plot was directed by an Indian government employee who describes himself as a senior field officer with responsibilities in security management and intelligence. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said that Canadian authorities have been working closely with their U.S. counterparts since August in connection with the allegations of Indian government involvement in Nijjar's death. Canadian women's hockey team to debut 3 new players as rivalry series shifts to Ontario. The Globe and Mail. The Canadian senior women's hockey team will feature 3 debutantes in the 5th installment of the rivalry series next month. Hockey Canada has included forwards Jennifer Gardiner and Ancherkowski and defender Nicole Gosling on its roster for games against the United States on December 14 and 16. Ottawa set to award surveillance aircraft contract to Boeing despite Bombardier appeals. The Globe and Mail. The Canadian government is set to award a sole source contract for new military surveillance aircraft to Boeing, despite efforts from Bombardier and other domestic aerospace companies to challenge the decision in court. The government plans to replace its CP-140 Aurora planes with Boeing's P-8A Poseidon jets, which could stop being built in 2025 if they do not receive additional orders. The contract is estimated to be worth between $6 billion to $10 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world. Today, we have a wide range of news to cover, from the struggles of a Canadian biotech company to the challenges faced by Canadian retirees. We'll also dive into the need for better support for victims of crime, the benefits of donating securities, the rising cases of cervical cancer, the elusive nature of authenticity, an alleged murder plot with Canadian connections, new players in women's hockey, a controversial government contract, and the stocks that investors are betting against. Let's jump right in. First up, biotech company AbCellera Biologics has faced a tough bear market, leading to a 10% reduction in their workforce. However, they still have a strong financial position. This highlights the volatility of the biotech industry and the need for companies to adapt to changing market conditions. Moving on, a report suggests that too much wealth tied up in real estate can hurt one's retirement. Many Canadians in the pre-retirement age group rely heavily on their homes for wealth, which can limit their investment options and access to financial advice. This serves as a reminder to diversify one's investments and seek professional guidance for a secure retirement. In a shocking case, victims' rights groups are advocating for changes in the legislation governing the prison system after a sexual predator and killer, Paul Bernardo, was moved to a medium-security jail without warning. This incident highlights the need for a more transparent and supportive approach to victims of crime, ensuring they are informed and protected throughout the process. Now, let's talk about taxes and donations. Did you know that high-income earners in Canada can save on taxes by donating securities instead of cash? By donating publicly traded securities, they can avoid capital gains tax and receive significant tax benefits. This is an important reminder for those considering charitable giving. Next, we have a concerning development in Canada's fight against cervical cancer. The disease is now the fastest increasing cancer among females, putting the country at risk of missing its goal to eliminate it by 2040. Factors such as low vaccination rates, barriers to screening, and a lack of primary care providers contribute to this challenge. It's crucial for policymakers and healthcare professionals to address these issues and prioritize women's health. Shifting gears, let's explore the concept of authenticity. In today's world, the pursuit of authenticity has become increasingly important, yet it remains elusive and complex. From politics to personal identity, we are constantly questioning what is truly authentic. The rise of AI and digital technologies further blurs the lines, leaving us uncertain about our online personas. It's a thought-provoking topic that reminds us to reflect on our own authenticity and the impact of technology on our lives. Now, let's turn our attention to an alleged murder plot that involves both the US and Canada. A man planning to assassinate a Sikh activist in New York also discussed the murder of a Canadian in British Columbia. The plot allegedly involved an Indian government employee, raising serious concerns about international security. The collaboration between Canadian and US authorities highlights the importance of global cooperation in combating crime and terrorism. On a lighter note, the Canadian women's hockey team is set to debut 3 new players in the upcoming rivalry series. It's always exciting to see fresh talent on the ice, and these games against the United States will surely be thrilling for hockey fans. In a controversial move, the Canadian government plans to award a surveillance aircraft contract to Boeing, despite objections from Bombardier and other domestic aerospace companies. The decision has sparked legal challenges, highlighting the complexities of government contract and the competition within the aerospace industry. Lastly, let's talk stocks. According to data from S3 Partners, several Canadian stocks are being heavily shorted by investors. This means that investors are betting against the success of these companies. Short positions can be an indicator of potential underperformance, and it's interesting to see which companies are attracting this kind of attention. That's all for today's news roundup. Now, it's time for you, my fantastic audience, to join the discussion. What are your thoughts on these topics? Do you have any questions or insights to share? Remember, in the 6 Degrees world, your opinions matter. So, go ahead and let me know what's on your mind. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the fascinating world around us. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.